Do you think if a movie or if content's budget, 50% of it is spent
On talent?
servicing, not even talent, but servicing the 2 or 3 people amongst a few hundred of the people you can put in the category of talent? Do you think something is wrong with the ecosystem? And I'm asking you this.
Vijay, remember, a good business usually makes money. And healthy business to the
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
So basically, you were being nice to me all evening. You're supplementing that.
And you manage all these people with really large egos. We are cognizant to the fact that you manage most of them.
You're right. Yeah. We'll lose that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think this is a long-standing debate, and I think it's a great conversation to call out the elephant in the room. Everybody's here to make a living, right? You're here for part of the $2 billion. You can choose to charge what you want tomorrow. If hypothetically you have a subscription fee that a consumer who is at a particular socioeconomic class may not think it's valuable enough. You run what you run, and obviously you're validated or not by the consumer paying for that, right? I think my business is pretty much the same. It is a marketplace of a buyer and a seller. So I think the simple answer to that is, what really are the economics that make it work? So if you don't want to pay on the front end, right? If you tell a guy that I don't want to pay this to you right up in front because say it really loads the film up front. What are the economics at the back end, right? How is it favorable in the back end? Are studios today willing to work under 50%? Are studios today willing to work by parting IP? Are studios willing to work by changing the economics where it changes in a way where everybody in the process makes money? Our producers of feature films today are in a position where budgets can be clean, right, in front of a performing artist. Music licenses and royalties being paid out to a co-producer at a certain degree of transparency. How are you evaluating these rights? Some of the like digital and satellite rights are diminishing, right? They're not accretive. You're not going to pay for the second cycle of a film that you bought. You're not going to pay the same money that you pay for the first cycle of the film that you bought, right? So I think there's a lot that goes at play. I think, yes, are there room for certain corrections in prices? I think it's not very different. I think today, if you're shopping, in your world, if you're going to a Flipkart and shopping and you find a particular product SKU expensive, in a month they discount the price, right? If that SKU is not selling. Why are the rules of marketplaces different here? Because someone's famous? I don't think that's fair, right? I think that's a very unfair argument because the easiest thing to do is to bell the loudest cat, right? But the fact of the matter is, yes, given it could be one or two or handful of people who may be spoiling the economics at scale by and large. But I don't think that's the rule. We are at a very, very strong precipice in the business, right? Because never before has the business been given an opportunity where artist, platform, whatever the platform is, it could be a big screen, it could be a small screen, medium screen, artist, platform, and creator have the opportunity of coming together to deriving a new model, right? I'd like a global multinational studio to tell me that they drop financing below 50%.
What is that? Explain.
So typically when you do a studio deal, the financier backs 50% of the film and 50% stays with the producer, right?
So wait, are there 3 entities? Studio, financial?
No, so I'll tell you how. So for example, Nikhil's producing a film. Nikhil's the studio. Ajay sir is the producer, right? Nikhil is paying him to make the film, so you take 50%. So he's diluted from his 100% to 50% of his idea, right? What's there to share?
Is that the typical ratio?
That is the typical ratio, right? And these guys will back me on this. Now, I'm the actor. You're saying, okay, you know what? Bring down my fee up front, but then I'm going to ask you, are you going to come clean with your budget, right? So for example, Ajay sir says I made it at 100, right? Sure. How do I know you made it at 100? I'm hoping you made it at 100. I'm not doubting transparency here, but it's also that, I'm not going to sit and hire an office of 10 people to see.
You are doubting transparency because that's the premise of what you
I'm
just
not doubting
said, right?
transparency. I'm doubting the model. Here's what I'm saying. Listen, not all apples are rotten, right? That's the truth.
Sure. No.
That's the truth of the matter. I think what happens in the celebrity world is because they're celebrities, the ability or the inability of them to get out of commercial-led conversations on capitalism specifically. Why is it wrong for a celebrity to make money? Why is it an issue? If you are saying that event films work, please give us the event films as producers and makers of content. If you are saying that star films work, please pay the star because of whom that film is working. You can't put us in the situation where it's an either or situation where neither do we know what's happening on the back end of things. I don't know today how do I calculate music royalties for my music composer. Right, in the spirit of complete transparency and candor, I will take one name. I represent Pritam Da, right? I believe fundamentally that we've been managing Pritam Da for a while. I don't think today India can celebrate without Pritam's music. That's the truth of the matter, right? If you go to a DJ and say in your Sangeet, remove his playlist, I don't think you'll last. That's the truth. Your party won't last more than 2 hours. Technically, if music royalties flew in the way they did, he would be Taylor Swift in her $10 billion tour right now. Fundamental problem is what? You're not making money. Because the truth is, you're not making as much money, rather. Because he's making $2 billion in a $50 billion market. You're making $2 billion with 1/10 of the population of the country being on your platform. All of us are playing in the same economies of scale. So the plate really is that big. The issue is how do you want to slice the pie, right? And I'm telling you, as somebody in the community and somebody who's fronting one part of the community, I'm more than happy to engage in a conversation of, is there a new model that we can explore? Don't just slap it and saying, you're charging a high fee. Of course I'll charge a high fee. Why shouldn't I? Right? If it requires hypothetically an awakening from a consumer or from a platform or from a competition to disrupt price points, right? I'm turning around and saying, you guys, the production world is basing this on content, right? The raw material of content is creator. So to Ajay sir's first point, it starts with the creator. All your business models come to nothing if the creator system is not solid. So my question to a platform,
But that's the thing. Is the creator system, is it solid?
It's not, sir. But that's exactly what I'm coming and telling you. What incentivizes me today to become a writer? I'm asking you a very simple question. He just said that 90% is working, 10% is not. Bollywood is not firing. What incentivizes me today to become a Bollywood writer? Why is the writer strike happening? Because in that part of the world, writers are treated with as much reverence as a director or an actor because he's creating the content.
Sure.
So my question to you guys as and to not just to you, but to the larger producer community, is how do we tell better stories? Because to your point, sir, you were talking about Kantara, it came from a story. You have somebody out here who told you during our break that as an audience, it didn't resonate to him because it came from from South.
It resonated.
It resonated because it came from his town. So वो बोलते हैं ना, in Kannada we say "Manne namaga," which means son of the soil, right? Because better stories make for better films make for better economies, and hence it becomes better for actors. I'm saying today as a platform, if I came to you with a show, right? You're not going to greenlight a show with me if you don't have IP, which means I need to make my money up front. Because technically, what are you saying? You're saying, you do the work, make the food, sell it to me, I eat it. Then, okay, I decide what to charge for that dish. You don't. And you have no business to tell me what to charge for that dish because you're not giving me a share of it. If you tell me, come to the table, here is the cookie, let's split it. You change your model, I change mine. You don't, I charge and I take, and I'm not going to be guilty about it because you're not changing yours. Why do you think musicians in India don't make money? For all the Bollywood song and dance we talk about, why do you think they are reduced to making money from weddings, corporate shows? Why don't they get music royalty rights? The top 10 richest celebrities in the world, 70% are musicians. India doesn't have one in the top 1,000, I guess. Why is that? When the big fat Indian wedding is the global phenomenon, you don't have a single musician there. Because somewhere the system is not allowing, the right system, the IP system in this country is not allowing the last benefiter, which is the creator, to benefit from it. Hence, why should the creator be holden to a regulated form? On content, the call out is very simple. Don't blame it on the actor fee. For example, in the US, on Ghostbusters, they made money of video rights. That's video on demand rights, which means whenever they sold VHS, they made money. Will you give me syndication across different countries? When Hotstar opens up in 160 countries, will I get money from those countries? When Taza Khabar plays in 200 countries, will I get money from those countries? Will I have a share of the global business? Let's talk about the waterfall business-wide across OTT and across theatrical. Let's see how the pie is being modeled. Because what we are being told is, because we are putting the money, we take 50%. What the end creator is being left down to is a salary. So he'll charge the highest salary, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I also resonate with him from a very free market principle, capitalism standpoint. If somebody is paying for a certain service, I don't think we can blame the person who's charging for that service.
No, not at all. All I'm saying is that, like you said, everybody's not the same. When we were doing production, and I'm not saying we were holier than thou or anything like that, but I found that we were putting everything on the table, for sharing and stuff, and yet the actor fee and the talent fee would not come down regardless of his performance in the previous film. So sometimes, all I'm saying is that sometimes a haircut is also important, because you look at...
I just saw the haircuts happening. I can assure you, as we speak, being in the business right now.
But there's an assumption that the producer and the financier will not be transparent. I'm saying even if you're transparent and the script is good, the creative aspect is good, sometimes the movie became unviable.
नहीं सर, मैं transparency नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. मैं बोल रहा हूँ model में क्या. मैं transparency नहीं बोल रहा हूँ.
Share एक example. I don't want to give any more names, where actually the back end happened and it worked for everybody.
No, I know multiple examples.
Multiple examples.
We know multiple examples.
But some people just didn't budge from their fee, regardless of how the previous performance was. So then the producers end up losing their shirt.
To actually ask him how big a part did he play? I wouldn't like to say problem, but in inflating actor salaries.
But he's incentivized to do so. He's only doing his job. So to be fair,
There's nothing wrong with it. But we can still ask how big of a part he played.
I think I played the same part that the producers paid when suddenly the digital acquisition rights of films shot up and people were paying any money during the pandemic to acquire rights.
And if you had to predict, in 5 years from now, what percentage, say today an actor gets paid 100. 5 years from now, will he get paid 70 or 130?
I think he'll get paid, the current model, 130.
It depends on his performance, yeah.
I mean, he's saying assuming all goes well.
Assuming
if everything is going to if everything is going to the shitter, then I'm guessing he's going to the shitter as well.
No, all I'm saying
Established market size.
Tough. Because models are very, very different. And
Established Bollywood actors getting paid market size. Simple.
you can't establish that market size. It'll be a factor of this. So
But let's say there are...
I won't know. So it'll be a...
I think what he's saying is it's very opaque. That's what he's saying.
A, it's very opaque, and B, it's a percentage of the total production budget.
But he manages like 70% of them, right?
Yeah,
but he's not wanting to talk about that 70%
Why is that,
as
Vijay?
well, right? Like, I mean,
We're not asking you for like a bifurcation. I'm asking
see,
you...
understand, this is the only business where some things are behind an opaque wall.
Let's say there are
Yeah.
10 stars male and 10 stars
So
female.
let me put it this way. The male stars definitely take a lion's share of it.
Next
by the way,
question.
I think we've got to change that.
Get
I'm more than
90%.
Why?
I'm more than happy.
Don't sort of female-led.
I'm more than... Yeah,
it depends on the story and the protagonist. If the
No, but in
protagonist is the
every
lady...
story.
It's just always...
No, I
And it's
feel...
a function of how much role they have in a movie.
No, also it's a function of box office.
I'll put a neck on the line a little bit and I'll say I knew someone in the industry and her role and her co-actor's role was screen time was probably equal.
Okay.
But her salary in that particular movie was 1/100th of the
No.
male salary.
That much
100.
difference.
1/100th.
You're not just making that up.
The fee is a part of the production budget, not a part of the monetization budget.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
how much? So for 2 billion of box office, how much was it made for? Was it made for 1 billion? Was it made for half a billion?
But it was made the same way for the male and the female star.
No, I'm talking about overall talent fee, right? So, for example, today you know that okay, music streaming is 1,000 odd, 2,200, 1,300 crore market. That gets divided by Bollywood 70%. Now, in that, I can tell you, music directors make nothing.
The actors fees, what percentage of the budget? All I'm
Also,
saying is that
that's an interesting point I missed. What is the money spent on making movies in India here?
and then you can extrapolate what percentage does a lead star
See,
get.
I'll talk about
Something like
you
that.
talk about Bollywood films because you'll have a key understanding. An average Bollywood film, a reasonable Bollywood film, say hypothetically, we will go watch or which will come into our consciousness, not the 2 crore film that just nobody will go. It won't come into
But
our.
add that too, because we want entire market size.
Let's say if you take 300 films a year, it'd be 5.
8-10 crore तो होगा.
हाँ. इतना तो होना
उतना तो
चाहिए.
होना.
Is it that close? Ki the amount of money spent on making movies is 2 billion. The amount of money spent in theaters is 2 billion. The amount of money spent on OTT is 2 billion.
Yeah.
All 2 billion
These
each.
coincidences, I mean, it's just a coincidence.
No, theatrical is about 10,000 crores, which is little less.
But we
1.2
added
billion.
food and
Oh yeah, correct. If you add all
advertising
that,
and got
yeah.
to
Of course,
40,000.
yeah.
You would say that if you're making a big ticket film, the actor would be anywhere between 20 to 50% of that. 25 to 50% of that.
Hi, I'm Nikhil Kamath. I'd love to know what you thought of the episode. Comment, like, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.